So sometimes in these spaces, it becomes very difficult for us to hear the truth from the other gender, right? From whoever you may be pursuing. It's hard to say, yeah, you may be too overweight for that man that you want. You may be, too masculine for that man that you want, or that you having kids may be an issue, right? We get so held up in that attitude of I won't settle, I won't settle, I won't settle. But is it settling when you just don't have a proper appraisal of where you are? Let's hear from her.
This needs to be said. Some of y'all women out here are having such a hard time finding a man because you are being delusional. And let me just explain. So here, say you have a few boxes that you want someone to check. Most common ones that I usually hear women saying they want is they want a man with money, right? I want him to have a nice car, a house, a good job, da 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 da, right? Okay. I want a man that's got a great body, fit, works out, like eats healthy, whatever. Okay, fair. I want a guy that's, loyal, doesn't talk to a bunch of girls, isn't like out dating. Like I just want a guy that's like loyal, chill, doesn't have a whole crazy roster talking to all these girls. Okay, fair. Those are all valid things to want. Meanwhile, though, some of the girls that want that are in between jobs, in a bunch of credit card debt, not trying to better. I was gonna say better themselves, and then I said them, and then lives. Better their lives. They're not working out, they're not eating clean, so they're not taking care of their body or their health. And then on top of it, they have a whole roster. They're out talking to a bunch of guys there, which is fair if that's what you want to do. But like, don't expect to find a guy that's like, oh yeah, like that's my dream girl. Like I'm not out.
I think she's absolutely right and absolutely fair there. If you have a higher stringent of values that someone has to meet, what are the chances that if you do no work on yourself, and we see this, just speaking from a male's perspective, a lot of the times it's hard to tell women, or society doesn't do a decent job, enough job of telling women where they sort of rank in the value of a man's eyes, right? We often see on these spaces when women start talking about their value, they start with their job, they start with their degree, they start with the things that they've come to possess. They talk as if the same way a man would talk, because there's an assumption that it's value for value, that a man would value the same things that women value. It's coming from specifically from a woman's point of view. However, and that's fine, right? They're talking about their own wants and desires. But when you're projecting on that and saying a man should care about these things in for the same degree, for the same amount, you're completely foregoing and ignoring what's important to men. And when you hear what's important to men, it's usually the first thing is, well, looks. Now, and how many guys in the comments, put a one in the comment, or just flat out top, yeah, I've seen it. That when you say looks are important to me, the first thing out is some sort of shaming language. Oh, that's shallow. Okay. What do we go? How do we go from here? Because it's not going to change, right? And I think when we see men pretending like it isn't, as men, we look at them and say, you're just not being honest with women. And we have a certain category for that. When you pander to women and don't tell them the truth, effectively, they don't get a chance to say, okay, maybe there's some things I need to work on. And admittedly, we all have things we need to work on. Let's continue.
Here talking to 8 million girls, but my dream girl, the one with the 15 guys on her roster, that's my dream girl. Like, that's just not how that's going to work. Everything has a catch, right? So you might be able to be like a hot mess financially, whatever, and find a guy to swoop in, come take care of all of that for you. But the odds are, if you're also like not checking all the other boxes and they're down to come in and handle all of that, the odds are is there's going to at least be one box they don't check, right? They could be attractive and be down to pay all of your bills, but they're probably not going to be faithful. Like,
Probably several boxes they don't check, right? If if I see a woman that is just beautiful, but everything else in her life is a mess, I'm not looking at her seriously. I may find that attractive, and personally, it'll stop there for me. But if you don't have everything, if you don't have things in your life together, and you're out here dating, it's hard for men to take you seriously. It's hard for men to look and say, "You're someone I want to keep around." And part of where we get things wrong as men is you give your attention to women that you're not serious about. They then go forward thinking, well, and women, if I'm wrong, please in the comments let me know, that if what I'm doing is working and getting the results that I want, I'm getting the attention of a man that I desire, why should I change anything?
I'm just telling you guys, like, if you want somebody that's here, you need to be here, okay? And we're so high on this don't settle horse.
So let me just clear that up a bit. If you want someone that's here, you need to be here in their eyes, right? And vice versa, right? What's valuable to women at this level? What they say, I want a man that's these things. Well, he has to be here. He's done the things, he's here. You having those values, having that set, you feel like you're here. To him, you're here, right? You have the things that he has, and you think, well, that should put me here. No, you could be missing something critical that's super important to him. You're here, right? Vice versa, vice versa, vice versa. Like the other video of the gentleman saying that on paper he has all the things. He does all the things, but the women he says are on his level, they value him here. He's missing critical things that they care about. You can't tell people you should feel like this about me.
Like, I'm not going to settle. I know what I want. I'm not going to settle. Meanwhile, we're not elevating ourselves. Yes, if you don't want to settle and the bar is here, keep it there. But if you are here, you're going to have to figure out how to get here. Or you're going to have to find somebody that's here. You have to be compatible with who you're with. And it's just, that's the truth. So, y'all, I'm just telling you, some of you guys are heartbroken and having such a hard time dating because you're not looking yourself in the mirror, literally and figuratively, and saying, okay, what kind of candidate of a partner am I?
And and to be fair, it's hard for people to have a better understanding of where they rate in society because you have so many different conflicting messages, right? You have our society at large telling you that you're beautiful at any size, right? Well, yeah, right. There's a lot of nuance to that statement that should follow. You're beautiful at every size, and you should feel that way about yourself. However, that may not translate well to you seeking a partner, you seeking a partner for men value this. That's a long statement to put on a billboard, so it's truncated, but we say you're valuable at any size, and then we sell you the things, we sell you all the things, right? Men, when we hear, well, women say they want these things. Okay, you want a man that's 6 feet. Well, okay, I'm 14% of the population. I lucked out. 6 figures. All right, I've clawed my way to the top. It's taken me 15 years. I'm there. But I don't hear any of the nuance after that. Well, I want this things in a man that I find attractive. You've never found me attractive, right? I would need to make, on our side, we see men with an obscene amount of money or the willingness to spend a lot obscene amount of money on women, and we see them in that frame, in that still shot, right? In that immediate moment in Miami on a yacht in Dubai, right? We see that. We don't see the other, 364 days of the year. Is that woman that was just partying up, throwing your money up in the air? Is that who you're with? Is that who you're with for the long term? Is that someone that you're going to make your wife, or someone you just had fun with, and that's what your money, without all the other attributes that women say they want, buys you?
You have to be realistic with yourself. You just have to. Because chances are a lot of your friends aren't going to tell you the truth. A lot of your friends aren't going to be like, well, maybe you should do X, Y, and Z. Like maybe like that's why the guys you're interested in aren't interested in you. Like your friends aren't going to tell you that, you know, you're 30 pounds overweight or that.
This is why I like male relationships, right? Honest ones. Yeah, man, if you're out of shape, we'll tell you, right? We'll let you know. We'll rag on you. We'll let you know in a way where we want you to do better. We don't want to leave that out. In my close circle, if I often come to them and ask them where I went wrong, if I'll explain the situation and try to be as unbiased as possible and tell me the truth. And when you're close to your brothers and you keep them close, when they tell you something, it cuts right past your ego. Your ego never activates, right? That's how I believe it should be. Your ego never activates. You never get defensive. You simply hear what the critique is and say, all right, I need to go back to the lab. I need to go back and work on these things. But if you don't have people around you that can give you decent advice, because being real with you means that person has to be real with themselves. I can't tell my brother, hey, you're 30, 40 pounds overweight while I'm 60 pounds overweight. Even if that's what he needs to hear, I'm not ready to give that advice. I'm not ready to hear or receive that advice.
You know, maybe the fact that you keep a crazy messy house is a turnoff, or they're not going to tell you that maybe you not having a job or something is a turnoff. Like they're not going to tell you that, but I'm just here. Take it as you will. Maybe this is going to be someone's sign to like either get it together or look for somebody that's a little more.
So it begs the question: can you settle if you don't have an accurate assessment of your worth? If you're simply overshooting your standing, would something that is actually more commensurate with you seem like settling? Then, you know, where does that delusion sort of lie? Right? Who's in the wrong? And then better yet, how do you fix it? Right? How do you fix it if you can't be real with someone and that person isn't willing to hear what you have to say? How do you fix that, and how do you get better outcomes? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys.